Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the show. This is Real Talk, and I'm your host, Country Boy. I hope and pray that everybody had a good evening today. I hope and pray that nobody had any problems on the job or anywhere you've been. I hope that everybody's situation and status is good. I want to start today by saying, first off, I want to thank the ladies, the Lift ladies of Greater Galilee. This past Saturday, they had their What's in Your Cup conference at Southwest Community College. And must I say, that thing was on fire. Yes, yes, yes. They showed up, they showed out. When I tell you the building was full of nothing but the Holy Spirit, if you missed it, you missed the treat. Uh, all I can say is they have some pics and some sample videos of the things that went on. There was no live streaming for the purpose of you had to be there in order to get the full, what's the word I'm looking for? You get the fullness of what was going on. Now, even though this was an all ladies conference, there were a few of us men there. We had a sound guy. Shout out to Ontario Showers, whose wife was the guest MC. Uh, Most of y'all probably know her as Punkin. Uh, she did an outstanding job. She really showed up, and she always knows how to deliver. I must say, uh, her and her husband, I myself thank you for the job that y'all done. It was a job well done. My hat goes off to you too. Salute. Also, uh, they had Minister Gabe, who was on those keys and the vocals. And he set it on fire. He was on the stage. He set it on fire. And of course, myself, uh, I mostly served as a little security. You know, when you're in an environment and it's all women, everybody's there for one purpose, and that purpose is to get a fulfillment. They're paying attention to all the things that's going on. No one has time to keep an eye on their surroundings. So I was trying to be that extra eye, that extra ear. Some call me the bodyguard. But all jokes aside, I felt like nobody wants to be in a predicament where your attention is elsewhere and something happens. So I was trying to provide that extra attention for them. I mean, that extra security for them. So while they were there and enjoying the show, they had some really, really, really good food. Uh, I'm not sure who the caterer was, but she and her team, they did an outstanding job. So shout out to them. Yes. And also the servers, the ladies that were serving the food to the guests. I want to thank you ladies for coming through and helping. Your hard work definitely didn't go unnoticed. And there were also some guest testimonials there. I think there was cancer survivor and other. Like I said, I couldn't really keep up with everything that was going on because I was. If you were there and you saw me, you know I was all over the room. I was all over the building actually. I was from one side to the other side, trying to keep my eye on things. Uh, but from what I could hear, everything was great. And like I said, if you missed it, you missed out on a wonderful opportunity and a great experience. With that being said, I hope and pray that you guys will be at the next event. I can't say exactly when it's going to be, uh, or where it's going to be, but there's more to come. This was just a first step in this thing for these ladies, and they worked their butts off. They really did. They did everything that they could to make sure that everything was in order. Um, they had some nice gift bags, some what's in your cup bag. I don't have one in my grasp at the moment, but I will bring some to the next show because I even have a mug, a what's in your cup mug, and but let's best believe I'm gonna be drinking from that mug. Yes, I will. And so yeah, and also the guest speaker. Lord, Lord, Lord. That lady came with a fire that only the Lord could put out. She did her job. And like I said, if you were not there, just hearing it from me is not enough. Uh, but I will be uploading some pictures if you haven't seen any of the posts that were posted from First Lady Dr. Alicia Connerly, my wife Kizzy Van Orman, um, or Greater Galilee. Look forward to me posting a few pictures because there was a lot of people there, and like I said, it was a definitely a spirit-filled event. God was in the building. You had to be there in order to experience it. That's the only way you could get the full experience is you had to be there. So I just wanted to recognize that conference. That's what's in your cup. Now I don't know if there's gonna be a what's in your cup two or what the title will be for the next one, but better believe it's gonna be just as good as this. So y'all stay tuned, tune in, and also for the ones that didn't make it or didn't get a chance to come, we have gift bags on sale at Kids Closet. Uh, there'll be some at the Macomb shop on Delaware, and there'll also be some at the Brookhaven shop on West Congress. So I'll be dropping some details soon on what the prices will be and show you what'll be in those gift bags. Uh, so if you didn't get a chance to come to What's in Your Cup, you will get a chance to get a What's in Your Cup coffee mug with some other little gifts to go along. Excuse me, go along with it. With that being said, once again, I just want to take my hat off to those ladies, and y'all keep doing what you were called to do. I don't care who tries to tell you different. If God said do it, keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't be discouraged. Keep moving with the mighty move of God. So, my next order of business is also on Saturday. Our pastor, Elder Jeffrey Connerly, he was in Pearl this weekend at the same time, and the men followed him there. They were there with him as he spoke to the youth. He had a message for the youth, and I was not there because I was at the ladies' conference. But from what I understand, he did an outstanding job, and I got to give praise when it's due to my pastor. That is my pastor, my brother in Christ, and he's an excellent leader. Uh, If ever I had to call on him, he's always there. He's in my corner. So, brother, if you ever need me, you know I'm just a phone call or a text message away. So, once again, shout out to you, Pastor. And now for my next order of business. On March the 8th, which is not this weekend, not this Friday, but the following Friday. And I think they said it's going to kick off sometime around 5. We'll get that time updated for you. We still have a few things that we have to get together with. Some of our brothers have been absent for work or whatever the cases may have been. So we haven't gotten everybody together on everything, but I do know the date is set for March the 8th, which is a Friday evening, and it will go into Saturday. This is our brotherhood, the brothers of Galilee brotherhood, the men of Galilee brotherhood. And if you remember back in October, I think, August, September, October, somewhere in there, I can't remember. Y'all don't hold it to my heart, hold it to my head because I got a lot of things going on. This has been a really busy week. My phone has been ringing off the hook, and that's a good thing. I'm not mad at that at all. I thank God for those blessings. Uh, but it was back last year, right around the fair, whenever the fair was. They got out for Franklinton Fair, so I believe that was in October. We had a camp out at our church, and everything didn't quite go the way we had planned because we were under a fire ban, so we weren't able to really have a real campfire. We had a fire, but it wasn't a campfire. So this time we're gonna have a camp out. Everything's gonna be outside. It's a little warmer, so we're gonna ask everyone if you have sons. There's no age limit. There is no age limit. If you have a child or a son, teenager, or even just an adult who needs mentoring or just just need we as men we go through so much, and sometimes we just need something different. Just being around. Back when I was a youngin, and I know some of y'all saying, "What do you mean he was a youngin?" Yeah, back when I was younger, I used to hang out with the fellas. And when you would hang out with the fellas, it was like it's different than being at home because there's certain things you just don't want to take off your chest in front of your family. But if you vent with other men, it takes a load off of you. So that's why I said there is no age requirement, no age limit, no cutoff. So we're basically saying from the ages of 4 years old, babies tend to get a little fussy, and it's kind of hard for us as men to, you know, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but from the ages of 4 and up, I don't care if it's 85, 90, whatever your age is, come on out. We're going to have food, fun, and games. And I'm thinking maybe have a car event where we're going to be teaching the guys how to change tires. Some young men have cars and they're going back and forth up and down the road, and they may not know how to service their vehicle. If just basic service such as checking the oil, checking your antifreeze, all your fluid levels, uh, learning your vehicle, learning how to if you need to change your battery or your wiper blades, or just simple things, even detailing cars. We're gonna have these things on hand. And if you have questions, something that you may want to learn or may want to know something about, feel free to ask. This is the place, this is the time, and this is nothing for no one to be picked on about their inabilities because everyone there is going to learn something. You know, us older guys, we can learn something from the youth because you never too old to learn. Who says just because you 50 and 60 and 70 years old, you know everything? I've learned things from all age levels as I've been growing up. I've learned from my age, I've learned from younger, I've learned from older, I've learned from women. But basically, we just want everybody to come out and just take their load off. You know, whatever you have going on in your life, just leave it at home and come with an open mind, an open heart, an appetite because we're gonna feed you. We're gonna eat good. We're gonna be cooking outdoors. We're gonna, you know, show the guys that we're gonna show them how we can cook on the campfire, on the grill. We're gonna make breakfast Saturday morning outside. These are things that you learn if ever, God forbid, it does happen. It has happened. You have a power outage, and let's say you have, excuse me, an electric stove. If the power goes out, you can't cook. So now your survival instinct has to kick in. Uh, you don't always have the opportunity to go to fast food restaurants if the power's out. They're closed, so you can't get a meal that's already cooked. So you have to improvise. And if your power's out for a good amount of time, then you have to start using the things that are in your refrigerator so it won't go bad. So we're going to be teaching how to cook, how to prepare food, and like I said, there's going to be all types of games. I'm not going to even much share that information on what it's going to be because I want you to come with an open mind. I want you to come with all expectations of what can go on at a campsite. We're going to teach you how to build a fire. We're going to teach you how to maintain that fire so that it can burn all throughout the night. A fire serves a lot of different purposes, especially when you're outdoors. Now, it being coming into the spring, it does still have a nip at night and in the morning. So that campfire will keep you warm. We're going to be camped out all around that campfire. So bring your sleeping bag. If you don't have a sleeping bag, uh, now is the time to try and get a sleeping bag. Because if you wait till the last minute, you may not find what you're looking for at the last minute. Now, most of the people who came last time already have their sleeping bags. If you don't have a sleeping bag, you can't afford a sleeping bag. That's okay. Bring you some cover. You're not going to be just sleeping on the ground. We're going to have something for you to sleep on because we don't want you to get dirty. So, like I said, there'll be plenty of food, plenty of fun, and a lot of things that we can share. We're gonna sit down and just enjoy ourselves. I like to call it from boys to men. Uh, so if you know someone, it can be a troubled individual who is going through some things, and they just need a male role model to kind of steer them back into the direction that they need to go. That's fine. Uh, like I say, just come with an open mind and be willing to listen, be willing to talk and share. Uh, it's going to be a positive event, very, very positive. No foolishness, no negativity. Uh, we are a church based organization, and We don't we don't play around at all. We really mean what we say. And my main thing is I care about the youth. I was once a youth uh, who was on the wrong path, going down the wrong direction. Uh, had it not been for some of those men that were in my life, you know, those things that they taught me over the years, it kind of just it stuck in my head. And as times, advanced, we moved on. I moved on with my life. I started to hear some of those things that they were telling me. And I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. If we were perfect, I don't think we would be on this earth. Um, and no one can say that, oh, my child don't need no counselor or nothing like that. It's not about that. It's just about having someone else to go to and talk to other than mom, other than dad, you know? And if dad wants to tag along, that's fine as well. But sometimes kids have a hard time opening up to their parents about certain subjects. So if the child has something that they want to address and not in front of their parents, then feel free to come. We take pride in what we do. And like I said, I really my whole thing is I'm trying to save this generation that's, you know, uh, under us. They're our kids. Um, if we don't care about them, who will? You know, we all know that I'm not down in law enforcement. I have to say this every single time. All law enforcement is not bad. Some law enforcement, they have a reputation for what they do. And I can't speak for all law enforcement, but the ones that I have come in contact with are the ones that I know. They're good people and they care about you, but they also have a job at the end of the day. They are here to serve and protect. And that's what I try to do. I try to serve the community and protect the children, one community at a time. I know I can't reach everybody all at once. So just one community at a time. My main goal is to go from one neighborhood or one community to the next, just spreading love and good news. Uh, we got to teach our young men that it's more to life than jail. It's more to life than the streets. It's more to life than, you know, any negativity. You can be positive and be cool. You know, you don't just necessarily have to step out there and try to be a bad guy, be a tough guy, just to make a name for yourself. That was my biggest problem. I wanted to be seen on the scene. I wanted everybody to know who I was. And that wasn't never a problem. The problem was what I had to learn is you can't impress everybody. Everybody is not your cup of tea, and you not everybody's cup of tea. Uh, so you can't force nobody to like you. People are going to dislike you whether you good or bad. You know, that's at school, that's at home, that's wherever you may go in life. The church. There's always going to be somebody who's going to find something bad to dig up on you. Our past, they don't have to. What we've done in the past doesn't have to project what we'll become in the future, because anyone can change and anyone is worth saving. Everyone. I want to help you become better than I ever was. I'm not proud of the things that I've done, some of the places that I've been, the routines that I did daily. I'm not proud of that. And as I look back over my life, I wish that I would have took a different road a long time ago. And people were actually trying to help me, but I didn't feel like I needed help. I was big headed. You couldn't tell me nothing. I didn't care about, and I grew up in church. That's the crazy part. I grew up in church. All of my childhood, I was in church, but that did not have anything to do with how I turned off the path. What had to do with that was I want to be popular. I want to have fame outside of my community. I want to go to different communities and be popular, be known. But there are all types of ways to be popular. You can become a professional athlete and do positive things. You can become a welder, a pro fisherman, a technician, automotive technician. You can become anything you want to and become popular while doing it. And that's positive. That's not negative. You don't have to be a thug and walk around here with a gun. You know, most people that have guns are there for protection, and they don't display them in a way that I'm bad. I'm because I got a gun. You know, they're only for safety reasons. So having a gun don't make you big and bad. It can get you hurt, especially if you have no proper training. Uh, most people that use guns in the streets, they shoot a million bullets and never hit their target. Most of the time. Sometimes they do, but look at the damage they do while they're doing it. And first of all, why would you want to take someone's life? You don't have that right. Uh, so I just want to let the kids see that what I did in my past was bad. It was dishonorable, not only to my family, but to God. I didn't listen. Uh, for a while, I didn't even want to be around my family because I felt like the things that I was doing, I was just becoming a major disappointment. Even though my people, they loved me, you know, they only wanted what was best, but that didn't mean that I listened. So this is my second chance to do the right thing. My childhood, my teenage years, my 20s, they gone. And I got 1 year left in my 30s. And then I'm gonna be starting a new chapter 40 next year. I don't wanna be wake up one day and I'm 40 years old and here I am still doing the same thing from 20 years ago. What am I accomplishing? You work a job, you go to work, you work 5, 6 days a week, some 7, 10, 12, 14, 16 hour days, only to go on the weekend and party all your money away. Uh, I'm not saying anything is wrong with you having a good time, but it's the way you do it. Spend your money on expensive clothes. There's nothing wrong with looking good, smelling good, you know. But the routine that I had, I dressed to kill every time I went somewhere. And if you see me now, I don't care what I got on because it's material. Clothes don't really mean a lot to me no more like they used to. I used to wear every new brand outfit that came out back then. You couldn't beat me to the mall on Fridays and Saturdays. I had to have it fresh. Uh, I said all that to say, what was I doing? I was impressing the crowds, but they didn't really care. I thought I was impressed, but those people didn't care. They just looked at me as another dude, just like the next dude, and just like the next dude. And the females that were out there, they were dressing all, some of them were inappropriately dressed. It just didn't really make a lot of sense. Uh, and what you fail to realize is one day you're going to get older, you're going to have children, and they're going to see photos or videos of you out there, and you probably you get older and you change. You become uh, more involved with the church and everything. So now your kids see this and they're like, "Mom, Dad, I just saw a video of you. And you were doing this and you were doing that. You cracked somebody's head with a beer bottle." And, those are things that we probably won't be proud of anymore. But those are the things that we teach our children, and they grow up thinking that it's the right thing to do. It's cool. My mom, my dad did it, so I'm gonna do it. And they pattern their lives after that. And God forbid, I'm not saying everybody ends up, you know, in a bad situation, but this generation, they seem to follow trends. They like to do everything they see. If you notice on TikTok, every time something new comes out on TikTok, the young people are the first ones on that boat. Now the older people, they kind of follow into it. Some of them do, depending on what it is. But these young people don't miss a beat. They're all open. When we were coming up, we didn't just necessarily have. I'm not gonna say we didn't have ways to see things, but if it wasn't in a music video or on a movie, a TV show, we didn't have TikTok and Instagram and Facebook or even YouTube back when I was coming up. The only internets we had was America Online and what have you. So it just wasn't a lot of different things like that. So like I said, if it wasn't in a music video, and our music wasn't the best, we had some vulgar music, but when you're young, you're easy to manipulate. You follow things that you know don't make sense, but we do it anyway, just because we want to be cool. So from generation to generation, we pass things along. It just gets more advanced uh, because technology advances, and either you're gonna keep up with it or you're just gonna fall along the wayside when you hear about it. And by the time you do decide to get up on a trend, 20 more have already come out. So anyway, I'm just trying to show these young men and young women, but mainly the young men, because the young men are supposed to be leaders. They're supposed to be the ones who the children look up to in the home. If the husband leaves, the family will follow. But don't nobody want to follow somebody who ain't got it together. Because guess what happens? One bad apple spoils the bunch. So I'm just trying to teach these youngsters that you can be popular, you can be famous, you can be somebody without having to have to do what everybody else does. My mama used to tell me, if your homeboy jump off the Mississippi River, you gonna jump too? And I would look at it and say, no. For one, I can't swim. So why would I, jump out there and do something like that? And the Mississippi River, that's a lot of water. And I can't drink that much water. I don't even really like to drink water. No way. So if you force me to drink it, nah. My mama had a way with words. And I just didn't. when she would tell me don't do something, I probably wouldn't do it. But when I got out of her sight, I wanted to know why I couldn't do it. Why is my mama telling me don't do this, don't hang with this person? Uh, so what do we do as kids? We try and find out. Uh, I'm not putting down on my dad. My dad and my mom split up, and I really stepped out there. And I don't know. I guess you call it act out. I acted out. My dad was 10 feet taller than me, even though we the same height. In my eyes, he was my pop. You couldn't if he wasn't at home, something was wrong. That's how I felt. So I tried to. I guess I thought me acting a certain way would make my mom take it back. But when you're young, you don't always understand the reason for why parents do certain things like that. But as you get older, you start to find out that everybody don't always stay in love. You know, sometimes love grows cold. We get in relationships and we realize that, maybe after 5, 6 years that this person ain't who I want to spend my forever with. And we call it off. So I said that to say, when you're a child, you don't see that, but when you get older and you experience things yourself, you realize that, okay, you may even see things that your mom or your dad do, and you be like, well, I guess maybe that's kind of the reason why they didn't stay together, because he ain't got it all going, for himself, or she ain't doing what a mom or wife, which is supposed to do at home, whatever the case. So it's a learning process. But if you're not teaching these kids what's best, what you know in your heart deep down is right. And sometimes it's not always our fault. Sometimes it's the way we were raised, the way we were taught. Everybody didn't grow up in church. Everybody didn't have their parents at home or any family for that case. So everybody has a different reason as to why they do things, And sometimes when the kids go to school and they see these other kids doing this and they doing that, but people like them because when they do it, it's funny. And they think that's cool. That makes him cool because he makes everybody laugh. But you don't know his reasons behind that. Maybe when he goes home, maybe his parents are jumping on him or they're hollering at him or they're picking on him. You just never know. So they mask that hurt, whatever it is, with what they're doing just to take it away. And sometimes they take their pain out on other people. You know that saying, hurt people hurt people. That's true. Uh, you don't know how you can affect the person's mentality when you do things. Uh, and sometimes, you have drug addicted parents. Uh, like I said, kids are sometimes they're afraid to talk because they don't want mom and dad to get in trouble. I know what they're doing, but I can't tell nobody because they're gonna put me in a foster home or they're gonna beat me or whatever the case may be. Last time I tried to tell somebody, they threatened to never feed me again. So everybody has a different reason. No one is the same, but we all have the same purpose in life. Now, what you what your calling or what your design purpose is can be different. God made every one of us uniquely different. So just because this person is talented in art and this person is talented in making clothes, this person is talented in talking or singing, That doesn't make everyone else have those abilities. Some people have talents that they have not yet discovered. Uh, you know, like me myself, I really don't know what my specific talent is because I can pretty much do anything that I look at, I can mimic it. If I see someone uh, building a house, if I hang around those people long enough, I pick up all those tricks of those trades. That's how I've come about in all of my skills. I didn't go to trade school for any of the things that I do. Um, I picked them up from someone and I mastered it over time. But the reason I think for that is because that's my way of, I won't say expressing myself, but that's my way of letting off my steam. If I get a lot of pressure on me, if I go out in the yard and I start doing whatever, landscaping or whatever the case may be, as I'm working and I got my music, y'all see me all the time, I got some Bluetooth headphones or something on. When I get in my zone, I don't really always know that I'm killing it. People be like, man, that looks so good. I'm like, it's not even finished yet. Yeah, but you don't see what I see. I'm like, nah, you don't see what I see. It's not finished. Just wait until anyone to tell you, I tell them this all the time. Just wait until I'm finished. Then you're gonna be like, but if your heart's not in it, if your mind's not in it, you can't do it long. Uh, People say anybody can do that. Anybody can do that, but can you master it? You know, anybody can go and hold a hose pipe and wash a car, um, vacuum it out. But a full detail means you have to go and do things that most people wouldn't be capable of doing. I'm not saying that they're illiterate, but just not capable. They don't have the know-how to do this. In some circumstances, some conditions, when you detail a car and the interior is really, really bad, and there are those this stuff in those hard to reach places that sometimes you have to take things apart. Um, you might have to go between or underneath a seat to get it perfectly clean. So that means you have to take the seats out. You might have to remove the dash, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everything has its own difference. Everything's not the same. Every trade is not the same. And they have things that are similar. How you do this, how you do that. Things are similar, but what makes it a trade, the plumbing is not uh, carpentry. But a plumber has to know how to do carpentry because if he has to cut a wall out or go underneath the house and drill a hole or something like that, that's when the carpentry skills have to come in. So he has to he'll either have to call a carpenter and get him to come in and do it, or he learns how to do it himself. Sheetrock, you have to cut a hole in sheetrock. Guess what? You don't leave that hole open when you're done. If you cut a hole in somebody's wall, they want that hole covered. That means you have to go back and patch that hole or replace. If you take a whole sheet out, you got to go back up there with it. You don't just screw it to the wall and say forget it. They have that wall painted, so that means you have to go in paint that sheetrock. Well, first you have to mud and tape it, screw it up, mud and tape it, sand it, and then paint it, prime it, paint it, whatever the case. So it's like I say, everything has its own level of skill. My grandfather used to always tell me, you can't rely on McDonald's and Burger King and Pizza Hut and all them places to work all your life. Little did he know that what he was saying made sense today, because now they're eliminating a lot of those jobs at the front counter. Most places you go to, there's a kiosk, and you have to place your own order at that kiosk. Now there are people who can't do it, so they do still have a conventional register, but it may be a little while before someone can get to you because they're helping the team or assisting the team in the drive through or preparing food. So it's much quicker if you place your own order. But my grandfather used to tell me that, and I'm like, man, you know, he, he, he old, so I get it. The younger generation, they feel the same way. But everything has a meaning, everything has a purpose. And if you don't listen, somewhere down the line, some of the things that they tell you will make sense. Uh, my grandfather used to say, if you don't like, I don't care what the job is, if your heart ain't in it, if you don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna last doing it. And that's coming from somebody who has had several jobs. Uh, even in the trucking world, a truck driver may go through so many different companies before he finds his perfect fit. It may be his own. Eventually he goes out and gets him a truck and he starts his own company. But he has to learn the tricks of the trade somewhere, you know. You don't just jump in the truck and dispatch yourself. You don't have the time. So you have to have a team. Everything has to work together in order for it to work out. If you try to do things your way and you don't have God involved, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work the way you want it to. And we, as human beings, we have a hard time, a hard time comprehending it. We want things, we want it done fast, and we want it done our way, even if our way ain't the right way, and fast might mess it up. When you take your time doing something, you get to look at all the imperfections versus rushing. When you rush something, for one, you don't care. Carelessness creates a lot of mistakes. And usually you don't even see those mistakes, but the people you're doing it for or the people you're around see it. And, you know, that's your reputation you're building. If people see that, oh, he don't take pride in his work, he just rush, 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 rush. If he would take his time, he would be good. But most people don't have time. They want things to go quick. So you got to take it slow. When you record a song, I don't care how good you are, how good you can sing. It takes time to make that track complete. You know what I'm saying? You have to go back and do ad libs, or if it's 3-part harmony and you're the only one. So guess what? You can't sing all 3 parts and the main part. You can't sing the chorus and then go jump right into it. You know what I'm saying? You have to sing this part, stop. Everything is mixed. You have to mix all that stuff. It's time. It's time. If you brush it, your song may sound like, I don't know. Back in the day, you could tell when something was made in a homemade studio versus a real studio. The sound quality was so much different. And I don't care what city or state you were from. If you have an ear for music, you can tell this has poor recording quality. Uh, it just takes time. Someone who can get you in that studio and take your money and help you rush through it so they can get to the next session. You see what I'm saying? Versus, okay, let's run that back. Start at the top. They let you hear yourself in those headphones and you be like, I don't like that sound. I don't like, I didn't quite deliver it the way I wanted to deliver it. But see, that's teamwork because he has the ear for it. He's going to take it back to the top and let you hear. He's going to replay it for you. And then guess what? Not only is he going to suggest what you should do, if he's a good engineer, he's also going to give you pointers. He's going to show you just exactly what you need to do. And if you're someone who is coachable or teachable, y'all work together, it goes so much smoother. You can't make magic just like that. I don't care how good you are. I don't. It don't matter. Uh, when you paint, sometimes things happen. You might if you don't get the paint on something that's not supposed to be on, you might get it on your hand or your clothes. I mean, things happen. If you're rushing, you're gonna get stuff everywhere. Now you gotta stop, try to get this cleaned up. Before you know it, you've lost so much time, and you only had a X amount of time to get it done. But if you would have just took your time, got in your groove, and did it the right way, you wouldn't have to keep going back and forth. You see what I'm saying? So most people don't listen to that. Uh, like I said, some people aren't teachable. They're not coachable, and they just don't care. Carelessness will cause so much havoc, and I'm not a big fan of carelessness. If you know me, then you know me myself. I'm a perfectionist. I've always been. I was taught that. My grandfather didn't care about how you thought it should go. He knew the way it was supposed to go, and he's trying to teach you. Now, if time goes on and you learn a better way to do it, as long as it's right, it's cool. But if you just jump into something for the first time, you ain't got a clue. You can't tell somebody that's been doing it all their life that they're wrong. And and then you get out there and you try to demonstrate, and it makes zero sense. And they be like, didn't I tell you? So, you know. Anyway, I kind of got off where I was going with this, but I just want to reach people the best way I can. I want to show people, young people, that it's more to life than going out here and following trends. You know what I'm saying? These songs will have you thinking that this is the way you're supposed to do it. This is the way it's supposed to go. And most of the time, the people that are singing those songs don't even do that stuff. Man, God forbid. Have you ever been around a person all year long? You grew up with that person. You grew up with that person. You know this person like they're your brother or your sister. And somewhere down the road, they might become a singer or a rapper. And you start hearing the lyrics to their songs and they start telling you, I grew up selling dope, this, that, and the other. We had, you know, all type of fights and stuff like that. But you grew up with this person, and you know they didn't grow up in those streets. Only time they was in the streets is when they was riding a bicycle. It's an act. It's an act. The more they falsify the information that they're putting into those songs, they're getting credibility from the streets. But in order to get that high level of credibility, see, they have to build a to the law it's called a rap sheet, but they're trying to get their street cred. So I got to go out here and I got to rob, I got to shoot. How many bodies you got? You know what I'm saying? This kind of stuff. Tell me where that's something you want to do one day. But what we fail to realize is one day we're gonna have kids, and they're gonna be faced with some of those same challenges, and they're gonna look back and say, "My dad did that, so I can do, I gotta do." Can you hear me? My dad did stuff that he probably not proud of to this day, but I can never say I done something because my dad did it. I can't. My grandfather was a stand-up guy. If you knew him, then you know where I'm coming from. My grandfather was a big man in our community, in our church, and in several churches in the community. Um, he was a stand-up guy, but just because he was a good person didn't necessarily mean that I was going to be a good person. I had to grow. I had to learn. Uh, it took me up until this point that I realized that I'm so much like him uh, in so many ways that it almost scared me a little while ago. Uh, I was like, man, I'm becoming my grandpa. I really am. But actually, I'm going a step further than he did. But I didn't realize that until I just started to analyze myself. And I was like, I was trying to be popular and famous. And now the things that I'm doing are worth being popular about because it's positive, it's not negative. But you know what? When you do good, that's not considered cool when you do the right thing. When you accept God as your personal savior and you say that I accept his son Jesus who died on Calvary, people start to look at you different. You know what I'm saying? They look at you like, oh, he with this Bible crap. I ain't trying to hear all that. I'm trying to live my life. I was that guy. I was that young cat. I ain't want to hear that. They always trying to come to me with some religion. I grew up in church. I know enough. I don't need all that. Young people, you're not always guaranteed to be 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75. I used to be that guy who said, I got my whole life to worry about God. Hmm. But what if I wasn't sitting here today because I was laying in a grave, cold, and didn't know God? What if? That's something to think about. People die every day, and they ain't always old. You got more young, like what my grandparents would say, it's more short graves than it is long. So you're not always guaranteed to live a full life, and you don't get to pick how you're gonna leave here either. You might go instantly. You might be in a head-on collision that kills you right then, and you don't even get a chance to make the necessary change that you need to make. So it could all be over in the blink of an eye. And some people might get to go slow, and they lay there and they get to accept God as that personal Savior. But that's not always guaranteed to be us, you, me, our children, nobody. Just say you walking down the sidewalk and somebody walk up to you and they end your life. You have no control. You don't get to say when I'm going to leave here. So how do you get to say I got all my life to worry about that crap? The time is now. And if you do, one day you're gonna have children. If you get to have children, one day you're gonna be a father, mother, and you're gonna look back and say, I don't want my children to live the life that I lived. I don't want them to go down that path that I went down because I was messed up. I was messed up when I was young. I don't want that for my children. So how do you avoid that? You teach them while they're young. You instill it in them. Even if they go out there and they make mistakes, that's life. You make mistakes. But the good part about it is you're supposed to make mistakes in order to better yourself. Because you learn, if you're learning from those mistakes that you make, that's progression. The more you know, the more you grow. The problem is nobody want to learn. Nobody want to listen. And the other part is we as men, we don't want to teach. You know, you can't tell these hard-headed knuckleheads nothing. They don't want to listen. But do you want to teach? 1 + 1 = 2. So if you have a person who's willing to learn, being taught by a person who's willing to teach, you're on the right path. You can accomplish something. And they're not always going to listen, but keep coming around. Try to keep coming around them. You know, let them know that hey, I care about you, and if you ever need me, I'm only a call away. You can reach out to me night or day. If you're in trouble and I can help you, I'm here. Some people need to hear that. People tell me all the time, you just don't know how some of the things you say, how they just brighten my day up. They give me encouragement. They give me motivation. And sometimes I'm not even trying to hit it like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just driving a point that I know. I'm just speaking on something, but I'm helping somebody without even realizing. Somebody may have wanted to. They may be on their last. This is it for them. If I don't get it right today, I'm gonna end my life. And I scroll across the post and I see that and I'm like, wait a minute, don't do that. Think about what you're saying. What if I can help you change your mind? Would you be willing to listen? It's a small sacrifice for me, but if it means I kept somebody from doing something that they really deep down inside don't want to do, then I've accomplished something. So people are quick to say, I give up, wash my hands with them. And sometimes you have to, but that don't mean you give up. Give up. It just means I've talked and I've talked and I've talked and I've talked, and they just ain't getting it. But if you speaking to somebody, they got ears and they're able to comprehend. You put it in their mind. It's just like planting a seed. Every time you water, it may take time. It takes time when you water a plant that you start from a seed. Right now, you just see, I just put the seed in the ground, and I've been watering it, and I ain't seen it. Give it time. Give it time, and I promise you, little by little, you'll start to see small changes. That seed starts to sprout a little root. What does the root do? The root keeps it in the ground. See what I'm saying? See, it starts with a seed that you planted. You got to plant the seed first. And then once you plant the seed, you start to water it and let it do what it do. Now, sometimes you have a bad seed, uh, and you don't always know that right away. But as time goes on, you start to be like, okay, well, I know that in this amount of time, everything else been sprouted the root, and this one ain't done nothing yet. So I can't worry about that one. I just gotta let it do it. Sometimes it might take a little extra effort, a little more water, a little more nourishment. And what? See, that's the one thing. Faith is the substance of things that you can't see. Sometimes it takes a little more effort, just a little bit, just a little. Sometimes it takes a little more patience and time and a little extra nourishment, maybe some fertilizer, and it starts to grow and catch up. Everything else gets a little taller and taller and taller, and this one is still okay. It's coming up. It's coming up. But you know something? Sometimes that one seed that took so long, a little longer. Sometimes that be the best one you plant. Sometimes it just takes a little more effort. So don't give up. Plant those seeds, water, fertilizer, give them a little TLC. And see, faith is when you wait. That's the process right there that takes more time than any the waiting process. That's what we don't want to do. We don't want to wait. Nobody wants to wait. Nobody wants to wait. We want everything fast. Fast is not always good. Sometimes you just need to let it go slow. It's just like a good old roast that you got in the pot. You put it in that crock pot. You put all the seasonings and everything in that pot, and you put that lid on that crock pot, and you just let it just marinate. Do what it do. You can walk out that door that morning and go to work. I guarantee you, when you hit that door that evening, smell good in here. But it took all day. You go in there and you open that pot, there's everything it needed to be and more. But it took time. It took time. So I ain't gonna take no more time up here. I could talk all night. I feel good. Uh, I just wanted to share that little information with y'all. So, like I said, once again, if you have some young men, young brothers, and even the older guys, if you know somebody who he needs a little more encouragement, he need to hear it from some people that's done been down that road that he's been down, or he's already on. Sometimes it takes a little bit, you know, a little bit more. We all need help. So remember, March the 8th, I will get a specific time, and for those that want to participate, you can always inbox me, and I'll give you all the details. So, with that being said, I just want to say nothing is too hard for God. Nothing. He can turn the impossible into something that you would believe. But you gotta have faith and believe. Just because other people say it ain't for them or it didn't work out like they wanted, maybe you need to think about were they taking too were they taking it too fast? Were they trying to do it their way? So y'all stay tuned and be on the lookout for some more guests uh, interviews coming up. I got another guest. I won't. Y'all know. Y'all know. I don't give up the details. I just show you. But I do have another guest. We are working on a time and date. We're getting that together. Uh, just as soon as we get all those details together, I'll bring them on the show. And I know they got something that's gonna be real, real informative to everybody because what this person has to offer, everybody loves. I ain't gonna say everybody because some people might not. It might not be that particular preference, but for most of us, we love it. And if you don't know this person, what do I always do? I bring them on this show so you can get to know. So y'all be on the lookout. I done talked so much, I done made my mouth dry. So I know it's time for me to go. But like I always say, I love you just like God loves you. And I pray to God that everyone is watching this video. I pray that the windows of doors open up. I mean, the windows of heaven open up and pour upon you an abundance of blessings. Peace be to you, and y'all have a wonderful, blessed evening. Until the next time, this has been Real Talk, and I'm your host, Country Boy. See you later.